Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Love Origins, where we hear people's real life stories of romantic, platonic, familial, and self-love. I'm your host, Candace Spencer, and this is a solo episode to round out our season 3, our season with authors and cultural commentators talking about the intersection of real life love stories and fictional love stories. So on this episode, I want to talk about kind of how the season came to be, the idea behind it, the behind the scenes process of it all, and some of my highlights from the season. So first things first on how we got here. So in February, I bought Jana Bray's book, The Hunted Heir, which I've already talked about. If you've seen that episode, you already know how I feel about that book. Please watch it because I got to go all in about what I love about that book. But in February, I got it and posted on my story that I was going to read it. And a friend of mine was like, hey, can you please review it? This looks interesting. I was like, yeah, sure. Read the book. Oh, here's my cat. Read the book, really enjoyed it, and then did not review it. Totally planned to, but just didn't get around to it. And so then was like, okay, since I am going to review it at this point in time, it was like the summer. And I was like, well, I read a bunch of other books that I also enjoy. Put your tail down. So I'll just review them all at the same time. So I did like a little book roundup post on Instagram with reels of what I thought about the books and posted it, moved on. So right after that, like the day or two after that, sometime in that next week or so, like very soon after that, I was at a pizza party that a friend of mine was hosting, and another friend was also there. And this friend was telling everyone who talked anything about books that I had these book recommendations, that I had made this post, that everyone should check it out, right? Like I was like a bookstagrammer. I was like, girl, I'm not a bookstagrammer. She's like, yeah, but you could be. Like, look at how you did this and that. Like, you could be. And I'm like, that's not the lane that I occupy. Like, that's not my content. But I was thinking about it on the way home, and I was like, okay, I'm not a bookstagrammer. I've not set myself up as that. But is there something I could do with what I'm already doing? The things I already do, the content I'm already engaging in, like, is there something I could do that's a crossover? And the Lord was like, you could have authors on who write romance that you love and talk to them about their stories. And I'm like, that is amazing. I would love that. I was talking to my best friend about it. And so we were spitballing and came up with the idea of like the interplay of fictional and real life stories, like what that looks like and how one influences the other and impacts the other. And I was like, this is incredible. So I made a list of the authors I wanted and had no expectations that anyone would say yes. I kid you not. I was shocked. People said yes. Like every time someone said yes, I screamed. Like I was in my living room or my kitchen or my room, and I was like just screaming with excitement that people had said yes to being on the show. Because the one thing is like everyone I've interviewed thus far, I've known in real life. And so it was really important to me to make sure that people understood who I was, where I was coming from, the vibe of the podcast when I asked and did the question, like sent the questions and like the pre-interview prep that I do as well. Like really trying to make sure people felt comfortable and understood kind of the goal and the purpose behind it. The fact that people who didn't know me said yes, and people who were like pretty well known said yes. I was like, that's kind of incredible. Like that's really, really cool. So I had identified authors that I really wanted, and it was a no-brainer for me on the authors and the people that I wanted for this episode, for this season. I love B.R. Goodwin, like Major Fireworks, hands down, loved it. And I had met her in person already and connected on Instagram, and she's just really cool in person. So I was like, yeah, she was the one person who I was like, she maybe most likely to say yes because we've already kind of connected in person. Therefore, she knows I'm not like a weirdo. But although our introduction was me, it wasn't our introduction. But when I finished Major Fireworks, I sent her a voice note on Instagram, which if you're not a voice note person, probably sounds kind of unhinged. I am a voice note person, but I didn't know her. And so like to send her this voice note about this book that I read of hers that I loved was a little out the box possibly, but she loved it. And I was like, cool, we're on the same page here. She's been crazy. Awesome. At least she knew a little bit more about me as a person. So I was like, she is probably most likely to say yes if she's available, interested, whatever. Everyone said yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. Toni Shiloh, I've said it before, she does not miss. Like I love everything she has written. So getting her, I was like, listen, oh my gosh. So like it's the Toni Shiloh. And then Jana, again, like I loved The Hunted Heir, loved like all the elements about that. And I was like, this is one of the coolest books and most unique ones I've ever read. So, and she's a Black female attorney, which is really important to me as a Black female attorney to connect with other ones and understand their story and their perspective as well, like hear their experience. So I was like, they were immediately top of my list. I was like, if I can get these three, if I get one of them, I would be ecstatic. And all three of them, top of the world. Amazing. When it came to Dara and Joey, I was like, I am obsessed with Dara's podcast and I love her stuff. I want her. And then my best friend and I were talking. We're like, oh, it'd be really cool too to have the male perspective. And Joey's like the immediate first person for that. Like, again, though, like Dara and I have vibed on Instagram, but like we don't know each other in person. We haven't met in person. Same thing with Joey. But I was like, they may say no. Like, I don't know. I don't know. They said yes. And I was like, yeah, listen, here, we're out here. It was just so exciting. Like, I'm not kidding. I screamed every time to the chagrin of my cat who does not love loud noises. So yeah, that was great. So decided who I wanted to invite, sent the invitation with context about the interview, about the podcast, and then was just waiting for people to say yes or no, and then was able to schedule everyone as they were confirming. What's crazy about this, the whole thing is the Lord. Clear about it being the Lord is that everyone got scheduled within 2 weeks of each other. In the process of sending invitations, confirming XYZ 1, 2, 3, that took about maybe 2 weeks, and everyone got scheduled in the same 2 week span, which is crazy. Shiloh's and Joey, in fact, were on the same day. The Shiloh's were that morning, Joey was that afternoon. But within, I think like a week and a half, actually, I had gotten, well, no, hold on. I think Jaina was first, and the good ones and Dara, then the Shiloh's, then Joey. So Jaina was first in that first week, and then the good ones were like a Tuesday, Dara was a Friday, and the Shiloh's and Joey were on another Tuesday. So like 2 weeks. To get everyone, what amounts to really like 7 different people, even though 4 like married to each other, 7 different people scheduled in a 2 week span. People who have like jobs and lives and are teaching and have kids, and like it was like a God thing to have that happen. Like I was like, there's just no way. Like this could have happened otherwise. What's also funny is that this was not the season 3 I initially had planned. Season 3 initially was going to be a similar season to season 1, with a couple of deep dives, couples coming back and kind of going deeper into their story or answering a particular question and going deeper. And I had 2 episodes recorded and was going to do 2 solo ones, again, similar to season 1, and then had 1 confirmed but not scheduled, and then 1 that I was having a really hard time getting people for. And it felt like everyone I asked was like, yes, but then couldn't do it for a wide variety of reasons. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't have a season as of yet. And I feel like I'm doing what you're telling me to do. I don't know what to do with this. Like I'm having a hard time getting people, and I feel like I'm still supposed to do the podcast, but I don't know what to do here. So what do you want me to do? And a couple things, one of the things I'm learning this year through a couple different scenarios is like, there are some times where stuff doesn't work because the Lord is actively blocking it to protect you from something or to set up something else that he has in mind that's greater. If I had already had that season, I wouldn't have had this season 3. And I still have those episodes. They will still get premiered. People will still hear them for sure. But this season 3 would not have come about if I'd already had the season 3 I thought I had planned. And so I'm really grateful that the Lord has just good things in store. He has a plan always, even when things feel like they are stonewalled completely. He knows what he's doing, and he has a plan. So that's how season 3 came to be, from a very delayed but on time review post. My friend gassing it up to our other friends. The Lord planting the seed, workshopping ideas with my best friend, and then inviting folks and people saying yes. People saying yes. Again, I want to reiterate, for Love Origins, I do require some vulnerability from my guest because I'm asking people to tell stories that include their challenges and their hard moments and the things that are kind of uncomfortable, as well as their triumphs, but also the challenges and the hard things, to help contextualize those things and just show the reality of love in all of its forms. Like, it includes hard moments, it includes challenges, it includes sticky situations. And I always appreciate that people are willing to say yes to that. And I felt like for people who know me, it's a bit easier because they know they can trust me with that. For people who don't know me, to trust me with that level of vulnerability, with that kind of sharing of their story, like, that's really special. I don't take that for granted. And I'm very grateful, so grateful to all of my guests this season, for trusting me with that. I really, really appreciate that. And it means a whole lot. I'm really grateful I got a chance to share their stories on the podcast. Some of my highlights and my favorite moments. Every episode has favorite moments. So I don't want to take the hour it will take me to pull out all of them. Overarchingly, though, some favorite moments. One is being able to talk about the work that I love with the people who made it. Like, that is unparalleled. To be able to gush about this thing that I love with the creator of that thing and be like, I love this about you. Like, oh, I did too. Or like, oh, did you know about this? Like, the hearing about the behind the scenes of Toni writing To Win a Prince. Like, that's her husband's favorite book of hers. It's the book that he thinks reflects her story the most. And she wrote it in 6 weeks during a really hard time in their life. You listen to the podcast, you know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to it. But to hear that behind the scenes of that book that I also really love was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, you would never have known that. And so the ability to just give people their flowers while they're here and to just nerd out about something that I love with someone who loves it even more than I do because they made it, like, it is elite. It is an impeccable experience that I recommend to everyone, and everyone can, because most authors are on Instagram and they do love if you DM them and be like, hey, I loved your book. Here's why. I've done that to multiple authors. No one's gotten a voice note, so I'm like, they went well with Brianna, but I want to test my luck. Have it like creep somebody else out. But I have sent paragraphs. I have sent paragraphs to folks being like, here's why I loved your book, step by step by step by step. And they appreciate it. Because wouldn't you? If you worked hard on something that you cared about, believed in, and put out into the world, which takes courage, would you not want people to be like, yo, I love this? I sure would. If you love this podcast, please let me know. I would absolutely love that. So getting to do that in real time, face to face with folks is so freaking cool. Like, that, honestly, that is probably my favorite thing about being able to do this season. Like, that was just an unparalleled experience. Like, to gush about and then even like after the fact that with Jana, we were on the phone still after that, talking about the parts that I love and didn't want to give away spoilers. Be like, oh my gosh, this, and then this thing, like, that was so cool. And the other thing that was awesome was being able to understand people I admire as in their, like, in context, okay, as human beings in their setting of who they are as people, who their loved ones are, what their story is, and being able to understand them just better and more. I think that's really interesting. It's, you know, you can see people on social media, you can like read their work, you can know more about them through the things they put out, but being able to know them as a person is also really cool. And so it's really cool to not only see my favorite authors, but also hear their love stories and hear what inspires them, what impacts them, like to understand what has motivated them in life, what's challenged them in life, like just to get to know them as people. Like, that was just really cool. Like, I know their work, I love their work, and here's who they are as human beings, and that's also really cool. It was unparalleled. The entire season, I kid you not, I'm just like, this really happened. I really got to do this. Interview people whose work, both written or spoken or, you know, out there in the public space, I really admire. It's like, this is the coolest. This is incredible. I want to be clear. We're still talking to regular people as well, because everyone's story is important. And it will also still be a podcast about real life love stories. But this was a really cool experience. A really, really cool experience. I do hope to replicate it. I do hope to do a season, maybe like every other season, or at least like another season, because I read a lot, y'all, and I have a lot of authors I would love to talk to. So it'd be great to do more of this if people are willing to say yes. It would be great to do this again. So I don't exactly know what that looks like yet, but definitely want to do this again if people are down for it. Yeah, getting to know people, getting to like gush about their work with them, incredible. So some favorite moments from each episode. It's going to be hard to narrow them down. I'm going to go in order of publication. So the good ones are first. The episode is titled Creatively Christ-Centered. I think that's one of my favorite things. Like, they were very clear about the role of their faith and of Christ in their relationship. And that was really beautiful to hear and to understand about their relationship and their marriage to date. This goes across the board because it applies to everyone's story that I've heard. Like, I love the unconventional way their relationship started. I have yet to hear a story that is the same as any other story. And we're only 3 seasons in. They have so many more seasons to go, hopefully. But I have, like, they're all different. And theirs was very different. I have not heard that before. And I'm like, it's a really unique way to start a relationship. And that's really cool. So, and the way the Lord put them where they need to be, to meet each other, to have this relationship, to be married, to have the life they have now. Impeccable. The Florida, Georgia Southern moment was definitely highlighted. That's one of those things that like you couldn't have scripted that. Like you couldn't have planned for that. Like I was like, okay, well here we are. Like, this is what's happening. That was really fun. The pop culture moments. I think they did make an episode where we talked about if we were Team Peter, Team Gale, or Team Edward, Team Jacob. Those are really fun. The good ones have some spicy pop culture hot takes. You should ask Brown about those. And then definitely Lawrence's answer and Brianna's answer as well to real life romance. I feel like that was, it felt real. It felt like that's what makes the most sense when it's real life and you're doing life day in and day out with somebody. It also reminded me of another episode from season 2 called When the Mundane Becomes Remarkable, featuring Holly and Kevin Hires. Holly makes the comment, which became the title of the episode, that with Kevin, even the small moments, even the mundane things become remarkable because they're together. Even if it's small, even if it's inconsequential, like those things become remarkable because they're together. And I love that. There's another moment from this. Oh, the lawyers on a plane thing took me out. I loved our full confidence in ourselves with no writing experience whatsoever. I love that because I was like, yes, this is a great idea. And the fact that Brianna is in fact going to write a story based on the idea is epic. Like, I will say, I had a hand in writing a book. I contributed 1/16 of the idea, but I had a hand in writing a book, and I'm going to ride that because that's really cool. So their episode was awesome. Thank you so much to Lawrence and Brianna for coming on. It was so much fun. So much fun. Okay, next was Dara. When I tell y'all, it felt like just talking with my homegirl. Like literally just being two Black women who love Jesus and reading and are having fun and enjoying life. Like it was the best conversation for like my soul of like nerding out about Jesus and the Bible and like our favorite, like it was epic. That conversation, everything about that conversation was my favorite because it was just one really long FaceTime call with a friend. It was great. It was the best, like absolutely the best. And also like so funny. We laughed so much. Like that episode, like 75% us laughing, 25% us talking about actual things. Like, and I love that. I love it so much. So thank you so much, Dara, for coming on. Truly, like I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. Thank you. Jana Bray was next. She was actually the interview I recorded first, which I thought was funny. Because if you watch them, I feel like that's kind of, to me, it's obvious that she's the first person versus being the actual third interview. That was really cool. She was, again, my first interview. So my first time interviewing someone who I didn't know personally. So I was a little nervous about how it's going to go and how she's going to feel. But it was great talking about the law and her book and the like intricacies of that was probably my favorite. Here, again, unique love story. Her and her husband's love story. I don't know anyone who's a pilot or anyone married to a pilot, how their story started. Also, their story, if you heard the episodes, you know. If you have not, check it out. The beginning, before they met, actually, when she was doing a Christian matchmaking service with the letters, reminded me of the Hallmark movie called Hanukkah on Rye, where it's obviously a Jewish holiday story. The main characters are set up the matchmaking service by their grandmothers, and the matchmaking service requires you to send each other letters before you see each other. It's like a you got mail situation, which I love. I love that movie. But yeah, their unique love story. The interesting like lessons as well she's picked up from life and the law and how she wove that into her books were really, really cool. And again, we had some really great off-camera conversations that actually probably my favorite. They did not make it into the episode, obviously. Talking with her about the law and writing and that interplay was really, really cool because I just have not had that perspective or read that kind of book before. And so that was probably my favorite. So thank you so much, Jana, for coming on and telling us your story. Okay. So next up was Joey Otang, the future Dr. Joey Otang. And I really appreciated his vulnerability. Again, it's not easy to come on a podcast to do that. And especially someone who you have not met in person. But Joey's vulnerability, both as a man and just generally, I thought was really impactful. But especially as a man, you don't see that a lot. And we're still living in a society that will tell men they can't cry and they can't be vulnerable. And it's like, that's not healthy. That's not healthy for men, healthy for us to interact with men. It's not healthy. And I really appreciated Joey's willingness to be all of who he was on the podcast. The like really impressive parts, because golly, He is one of the most impressive people I've ever come across, but also the parts that were vulnerable and hard for him, sharing some of his grief and what that's meant for him in his life. Like, that's not easy. And then Hallmark, which has historically been very female centered, female focused, consumed mostly by women. And so it's been, I think, just in the last few years that it's become more, at least that I've seen men say, "Oh yeah, I watch Hallmark too." Like on Twitter, people are like, "Yeah, like men will be out there live tweeting the premieres too." It's like, that's awesome. But we just had with the Groomsmen the very first set of movies featuring male friendship for the channel, not just female friendship, and not just men as the romantic interest, but also the element of male friendship, which is really important. I really appreciate Joey for being all that he was on the podcast, both the impressive parts and the vulnerable parts, and just being so smart, like so incredibly smart, and making it a really engaging and interesting and enlightening conversation. So thank you so much, Joey, for coming on the podcast. And then last but definitely not least were the Shilohs. It was such a good interview with them. I told Tony this in person at Ink and Indie recently, and I gotta say, Shiloh, I don't think you're right. Like, she does not give extrovert. She is great one-on-one. We had a fabulous one-on-one conversation. I barely made it to anybody else's booth, which I was okay with. I honestly was totally fine with that. But one-on-one, fabulous. I did not see what Shiloh sees, but I still, that's his perspective, and he obviously knows her better than any of us do. So totally fine. But what I really loved was, again, one, unique love story. I've never heard It's a love story. And I'm like, yo, this really happens in real life. Okay, cool. That's incredible. And then the other tropes that are part of their love story, as Tony pointed out. And if you don't know, listen to the episode. It's fabulous. But also the way that Shiloh truly does love and admire his wife and her work and who she is as a person was really beautiful to see. And also their support of each other. And just the fun. When I tell you I laughed, that one moment where Shiloh's telling the story, I couldn't even get out the words I was saying because I was laughing so hard. That was epic. That was one of the... Still funny. It was a really fun and funny episode. And again, I love learning the backstory behind how Tony writes, how that their love has impacted her writing, where they see themselves in her writing. Like, it was an impeccable interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you so much, Shiloh and Tony, for coming on the podcast. And with that, we're at the end of the season, of this episode. Again, I don't think I can say enough just how special this season was. Every season has its purpose and has its value and is incredible. And this one was such a surprise. My first time also doing a video season. Like, I've never done a video for the podcast before. And I thought it would work for this season because it was people who are already in the public space and probably wouldn't mind doing video. That also required me to figure it out for the editing, which was interesting. The editing, oh my gosh. The editing is the only thing I've hated about this season. Everything else works so smoothly, but that editing almost beat the brakes off me. I kid you not. But we got it together. Got it through. Made it through. But the video component is a new thing. I don't know if I'll keep it for the future. It will depend on the guests and their level of comfort. And also what that, I guess, just looks like for the future. I don't know. Especially with other people who are in person. These are all virtual interviews. I don't know what that setup looks like in person. So that's something to figure out. But for this season, it worked out really well. And I really liked it. So yeah, tried something new. Tried a whole lot of new things this season, actually. So yeah, it was amazing. And I'm really, really grateful I got a chance to do it. And the pop culture tie-in for this episode is Walking on Sunshine by Karen and the Waves. And I did have to look that up because I've heard that song a bunch of times. It's Katrina and the Waves, my bad. Katrina and the Waves. I had no idea who sang that song at all. My guess would have been honestly the Bee Gees. Didn't even know. But that song encapsulates how I felt about this whole season. Just like, it was the most fun and the most incredible and the most like beautiful surprise that could have ever happened. And I'm super grateful for it. So with that ends season 3. And I'll see y'all later for season 4. Bye, y'all. Love Origins is produced by Candace Spencer with music by Anthony Spencer of Noisy Dreads, LLC.